I never expected my YouTube channel to bring me anything but comfort. It started as a hobby, whispered stories, soft tapping, and gentle sounds to help people sleep. But as my subscriber count grew, so did something far more sinister. His name was Will, and at first, he was just another fan. He would leave long, heartfelt comments on my videos, thanking me for helping him through his insomnia. I replied politely, as I did with many of my subscribers. I never thought twice about it. Then, the letters started. My P.O. box had been public for business inquiries, but Will used it for something else. At first, they were sweet, handwritten notes about how my voice soothed him. But soon, they became obsessive. He wrote about how he felt connected to me, as if we were soulmates. The words dripped with desperation. I think about you every second of the day, one letter read. I dream of the family we'll have together. It unsettled me, but I convinced myself he was just an over-enthusiastic fan, until the drawings arrived. Horrific, detailed sketches of me in his arms, my belly swollen with a child, his child. The look in the illustrated version of my eyes was hollow, almost vacant, like a doll. I felt sick. This was no longer admiration. It was delusion. I stopped responding to his letters, hoping he would lose interest. That was a mistake. My videos became battlegrounds for his rage. Under every upload, he left comment after comment, each one more aggressive than the last. Why are you ignoring me? You owe me a response. I thought we had something special. I started blocking his accounts, but he always made new ones. Then the emails started. I had never given him my personal email, yet somehow he found it. You can't run from me, one message read. I'll find you. Panic set in. I debated shutting down my channel, but I loved what I did. I tried to push through, ignoring him, pretending he wasn't there, until the day he showed up. It was a normal afternoon when I received a call from the post office. There's a man here asking about your P.O. box, the employee said hesitantly. He seems upset. My stomach dropped. I felt like I was going to vomit. Will had actually come looking for me. I didn't even think, I just acted. I called a friend, packed a bag, and left my apartment. I didn't feel safe anymore. That night, I deactivated my YouTube channel. Years of work, gone in an instant. But I didn't care. All I cared about was getting away. For weeks I stayed with friends, too scared to return home. Every noise outside made my heart race. I kept wondering, had he found my real address? Would he show up at my door next? The police told me there was little they could do unless he actually harmed me. Then, the final letter arrived. No return address, just one simple sentence written in red ink. I know where you are. That was the moment I decided to disappear completely. I packed my things, moved across the country, changed my name online. I deleted everything. Social media, old videos, any trace of myself I could find. I became a ghost. The first few months were the hardest. I was constantly looking over my shoulder, expecting him to appear. Every unfamiliar face in a grocery store made me panic. Every knock at the door sent shivers down my spine. I barely slept, convinced he was lurking nearby, just waiting for the right moment. Then came the dreams. Nightmares, really. I would wake, up drenched in sweat, convinced I had heard his voice whispering my name. Sometimes I swore I saw movement outside my window, shadows that shouldn't be there, but when I looked, nothing was ever there. I started questioning my own sanity. One night, I heard footsteps outside my apartment. Slow, deliberate. My breath caught in my throat. I grabbed my phone, ready to call the police, but the footsteps faded into the distance. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I found a single envelope taped to my door. No name, no return. Address, just the words, "Miss me?" I moved again. Another city, another attempt at a fresh start. But no matter where I went, the fear followed. I abandoned social media entirely. I changed my name legally. I erased everything that could tie me to my past. But the paranoia never left. Even now, years later, I still don't feel safe. I avoid crowded places, always keeping an eye out for anyone who looks too familiar. I still wake up in the middle of the night, heart pounding, convinced I'm being watched. Maybe it's just my mind playing tricks on me, or maybe he's still out there waiting. I don't check my mail anymore. I don't make videos. I don't even whisper. because some voices should never be heard again. Then one evening, while scrolling through a borrowed phone, I saw something that made my blood run cold. A new ASMR channel had appeared with a familiar name, but the voice wasn't mine. It was a distorted, eerie imitation of my own. The videos were unsettling, my old scripts, my exact style, but twisted. Every whisper seemed to carry a hidden message, something just barely perceptible. The comments were filled with cryptic praises, strange symbols, and usernames that sent a shiver down my spine. One stood out. "We're still here." I slammed the phone down, heart racing. It couldn't be. It had to be a coincidence. But deep down I knew. Will had found a new way to haunt me. I deleted the browser history, threw the phone aside, and sat in silence. I thought I had escaped, but some nightmares never end. And then a notification popped up. An email. No sender, no subject. Just two words: "Look outside." My breath caught in my throat. Slowly, I turned to the window, afraid of what I might see. I was never the type to take risks when it came to dating, but after my breakup, I was feeling reckless, desperate for distraction. That's when I met Daryl Rowe on Grindr. His profile picture was all charm, bright smile, sharp jawline, and easy confidence. He was different from the others. Attentive, persistent, almost too perfect. Our first date was simple. Coffee, a walk along Brighton Pier. He was charismatic, made me laugh, and his touch lingered just enough to make my skin tingle. But there were red flags, ones I ignored. He avoided talking about his past. He seemed possessive, texting constantly, demanding instant responses. I convinced myself it was just enthusiasm. Things escalated fast. Too fast. After just a few days, he was pushing to meet again, insisting we didn't need protection. I hesitated. Something about the way he pressured me felt off, but he had a way of making me doubt myself, of making me feel paranoid for questioning him. Against my better judgment, I trusted him. After that night, he changed. The sweet, attentive man I had met became distant, erratic. His messages became cruel. Then one day he sent me something that made my stomach drop. "You're going to burn." That's all it said. No explanation, no context, just those 4 words. I blocked his number. Weeks later, I started feeling ill, fatigue, fever, night sweats. I thought it was the flu, but something in the pit of my stomach told me it was more. I went to the doctor. The test results shattered my world. I was HIV positive. My mind raced. I thought back to Daryl, to the way he had pushed me, manipulated me, and then another text came from an unknown number. "Now we're bonded forever." I felt sick. I scoured the internet for anything about him. That's when I found the articles, reports of a man intentionally infecting his partners, a predator who had used Grindr to lure victims, and his name was Daryl Rowe. My breath hitched as I read. He had done this before, multiple times. I wasn't the first, and I wouldn't be the last. He would meet men, charm them, refuse protection, then send them taunting messages after infecting them. The police had been building a case, but they needed victims to come forward. My hands trembled as I dialed the number. I told them everything, the texts, the manipulation, the sickness. And then they told me what chilled me to my core. Daryl was still out there, still meeting new men, still spreading the virus intentionally. Wasn't just a victim, I was a witness, and I needed to help stop him. Days turned into weeks as the case against him grew. More victims came forward, each story mirroring my own. The same charm, the same pressure, the same chilling messages. It was a game to him, a twisted, calculated game. Finally, the police had enough. They arrested him outside a cafe, his smug smile replaced by something else, fear. The trial was long, painful, listening to his other victims, reliving my own trauma, facing him in court. But in the end, justice prevailed. He was convicted, sentenced to life. But his conviction didn't erase what he had done. The nightmares still come, the paranoia, the fear, the endless what-ifs. He stole something from all of us. Our trust, our safety, our health. I don't date anymore. I barely leave my apartment. The world outside feels too dangerous now because monsters like Daryl Rowe don't just exist in horror stories. They walk among us. And sometimes they smile. Even now, I check my phone expecting another message. Even knowing he's behind bars, a part of me still wonders if he'll find a way to reach me. Trauma has a way of never letting go. The nights are the worst. The silence in my apartment feels heavy, suffocating. Every noise outside makes me flinch. I keep my doors locked, my windows shut, my curtains drawn. The news covered his trial, but they didn't capture the true horror of what he did. The manipulation, the deception, the cruelty. They called him a predator, but to me he was something worse, a monster that took pleasure in suffering. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever feel normal again, if I'll ever trust someone, if I'll ever let my guard down. But I don't think I can, not after him. The scars he left aren't visible, but they run deep. The fear, the anxiety, the isolation. I know I'm not alone, that others feel this too, but it doesn't make it easier. Some nights, I dream of confronting him, of asking him why he did it, if he ever felt guilt. But deep down, I know the answer. He didn't care, he never did, and that's what haunts me the most.